Hi everyone. Did you know that during the day, the brain consumes about 20% of the energy of your whole body? Also, the capacity of the human brain could be big enough to store everything on the internet. Nevertheless, we still only use a fraction of it at a time, although we consume a lot of new information every day. Want some more interesting facts? Well, in today's video, we will tell you about different things and phenomena which will change your perception of the world. Let's get it on. The human heart. What color is your heart? You'd probably say red, and this is correct. However, some doctors thought of conducting an interesting experiment. They drained all the blood from it in order to try to create some kind of framework for further transplantations. Turned out that without blood and myoglobin, the main muscle of our body has an exclusively white color. That's the color of the connective tissue, which is all that remains after pumping out all the blood. By the way, the pig's heart is also white. Spinach leaves. Not only animals have veins. If you look at a leaf of a tree or a plant, you will see vein-like structures which distribute water through the leaves and branches. One day, these scientists from the Worcester Polytechnic Institute from Massachusetts discussed that when they were having lunch together, and you won't believe what happened next. You probably know that for some surgeries, doctors need living tissue of the heart muscle. There are two ways that you can get it: pick it up from a donor organ or grow it. Usually the organs for transplantation are in short supply, and growing microscopic arteries and veins from scratch is a rather complicated process, even for today's advanced medicine. But what does an ordinary spinach leaf have to do with that? The answer is simple. For several years, doctors conducted experiments, stripping the leaf of everything except for the cellulose fiber. The latter, by the way, is biocompatible and has already been used in animal testing. After implanting cellulose into the body of mammals, they begin to quickly grow into cells. The same thing happened with the spinach. Over time, the implanted shell was surrounded by the cells of the human heart, which began to pump fluid through the veins. Needless to say, this discovery can become a real breakthrough in transplantation science. Origami robot. In 2015, an international team of researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology presented their latest invention, the Origami robot. This tiny device could fold and unfold, run, swim, perform simple physical tasks, and dissolve in water. It was assumed that in the future, it could be used to perform medical operations. The following year, scientists demonstrated an improved version of their invention. A new version of the Origami robot was crafted from dried pig intestines. It can assemble on its own after it enters the stomach. The robot's controlled by a magnetic field. This means that the device can remove foreign objects from human organs or perform a biopsy. The robot's flexible frame is biodegradable, which means it dissolves upon contact with gastric juice. The robot can remove swallowed lithium batteries from the esophagus. When left in the body for a long time, these batteries can do much harm to the body. Believe us, such incidents are not so rare. In the United States alone, 3,500 people swallow batteries annually. Worm lizard. Worms are not the most pleasant creatures for most people. Now imagine that these creatures have eyes and a snout, not something you'd want to see. But this is not just a figment of our imagination. Such animals really exist, and they belong to the reptile species. We're talking about lizards, which look exactly like earthworms. These animals live in the forests of Southeast Asia and Mexico. Worm lizards have no legs and ears, and they spend most of the time burrowing and crawling to the surface only at night. These unusual creatures can be found under stones and logs.
Oh my goodness me!
Unfortunately, this type of reptile is still not well studied by scientists. However, they believe they feed on small insects such as termites and ants. Museum of Bad Art. Not every lover of fine art has a chance to exhibit their works in the museum and gain wide recognition. It's something every artist is dreaming about. Gallery owners from the US state of Massachusetts have found an unusual solution to the problem. They founded a museum which exhibits extremely bad art. This place is located in the basement of one of the cinemas in the suburbs of Boston. By the way, the museum also has two branches in neighboring settlements. Turns out that there are many bad artists over there. The museum's collection collection features about 500 works, and the slogan says, "Art too bad to be ignored." There are several criteria for selection of bad art. According to the curators, these should be original paintings created with serious intentions, but with artistic flaws.
Oh, that's pretty.
This is very nice.
Pictures that were created intentionally funny are not accepted. This has to do with the main message of an unusual institution. Everyone can get recognition, even if his paintings are far from perfect. Smog vacuum cleaner. Everyone knows that the air that we breathe today is not nearly as clean as it used to be hundreds of years ago. In China alone, 4,000 people die from the effects of inhaling smog every day. And in the United States, about 4 out of 10 people live in particularly polluted regions. But at the same time, we understand that it's impossible to completely stop all the pollution. So, how do we deal with this situation? Dutch designer Daan Roosegaard proposed an unusual system to fight air pollution. It is basically an electrostatic vacuum cleaner that can remove most of the polluting particles from the air. By the way, the innovator came up with the idea after seeing the ecological disaster in Chinese Beijing with his own eyes. The 7-meter air purification system is based on coils wrapped in copper wire and buried below the ground. An electric current of a certain strength and frequency passes through these coils. This in turn attracts the smog particles, making the air above the coils clean. In an hour, such a device can purify 30 cubic meters of air, using 1,400 watts of green energy. The smog particles caught by the vacuum cleaner can then be simply disposed of. There are also more creative ways of dealing with them. For example, Daan suggests making jewelry from these particles. Rainbow whale. A few years ago, an unusual video was taken on the coast of Newport Beach, California. In the video, you can see a huge whale that didn't just shoot a jet of water from its back, but a real rainbow. Internet users simply couldn't believe their eyes. However, it turned out that this phenomenon was not uncommon for this type of mammal. So how does it happen? Well, the thing is, the released jet instantly turns into water vapor in the air, and if the sunlight caught on this vapor is refracted in a special way, then we can see a rainbow for a few moments. Sunlight actually consists of a spectrum of colors, even though we see it as an ordinary white ray. However, under the influence of water and at a certain angle, the colors that are part of the beam are separated, and then we see the unusual 7-colored pattern. Hydrofoil. Engineers came up with underwater wings, aka hydrofoils, in the last century. By now, this device is used almost in all kinds of water sports: windsurfing, kitesurfing, and yachting. But what is a hydrofoil? A hydrofoil consists of a long keel, which is also called a mast, which is attached to a special body with fins very similar to an airplane wing. By and large, this is the wing, albeit an underwater one. Since the middle of the last century, the device was used in all types of water transportation, like water skis, catamarans, and yachts. However, this technology quickly ran its course because the stainless steel construction was very heavy and poorly controlled. Nevertheless, hydrofoils have significantly improved the operation of many vessels. However, in this century, hydrofoils came in handy again, this time thanks to surfers. They learned how to attach the devices to their boards, and the result was simply incredible. With the help of a hydrofoil, you can develop incredible speeds on relatively small waves, and the feeling will be more like flying than riding. Many experienced surfers say that after many years of practice, they didn't immediately get used to the underwater plane. Wine out of taps. Even not particularly religious people know that only God can turn water into wine. Imagine the surprise of the inhabitants of the Modena province in northern Italy when one morning they went to brush their teeth and saw Lambrusco sparkling wine in the sink. However, the incident was not caused by divine intervention. This phenomenon was caused by a local winery. There was a leak in its storage, which caused the drink to flow through the pipes of the water supply system. Public utilities eliminated the problem pretty quickly, but not everyone was satisfied with that. The residents had far too little time to fill their empty bottles. Psst, Dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.